Good afternoon, it's Vanessa Baker here, popping in for some more crafting. Welcome along and thank you for joining me. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator based in Waiuku, and I go live every Wednesday afternoon with some crafty goodness. So welcome along, and I'm just going to double check that I am actually live with sound. Oops, kick my shoes there. Just slipped them off because my feet got hot. Let's just double check things. Yes, I am. Okay, all good. Perfect. So today has been a busy day. There's been an announcement from Stampin' Up! I think it came through last night actually, that they're changing their stamps from, at the moment we have photopolymer and the red rubber cling stamps, but they're going to discontinue the cling and also discontinue the markers. At the moment you can use the markers on the red rubber stamps if you want to do, say, a stem of a flower in one colour and the petals in another. You can use the markers for that, but because they're transitioning away from the rubber, then and also a decline in sales, I think, of the markers, everyone seems to be using the blends. So yeah, those two are going to be discontinued. The markers are on the last chance list now. But the other thing, the other exciting thing, is new packaging for the stamps going forward. Because they're all going to be photopolymer, they can use a thinner packaging design. So I'll just flip the camera around and show you. So this is the packaging that we have currently for the dies, and the cling stamps are going to be in something similar to this. I don't know if it's exactly the same, but it's this sort of principle. So your cling stamps will just slide into here, just like the dies do now. And they're changing the die packaging, so it will actually show all of the dies on a picture somewhere in the packaging as well. Yeah, so that's quite exciting. So they'll be a lot thinner. That's a lot thinner than, currently we have the case, which is that thickness. So yeah, a lot better for storage, definitely. And with the markers, so this is a marker. This is the same ink as what you have in your stamp pads. This is a water-based ink. And so this one is discontinuing, but they're going to keep with the blends, which is the one you get the light and dark version of the colour, and these are the alcohol markers. So these are staying. So if you are interested in the markers, then I would head along to that last chance list, because they probably won't hang around for long. I suspect they'll be quite popular. Okay, so let's get on with this week's project. And I was going to do a fun fold, and then I had a lot of scraps of this Painterly Pears DSP, which incidentally is on sale. They have 15% off until the end of the month for selected products that have in colours in them. And so this is one of the in colours there, the Darling Duckling, and Secret Sea is in this one as well. So this paper is on sale. And this month's projects, I used this paper, so I've ended up with a bit of scrap left over. And there's a really fun card design, which I did. I looked back, it's actually over 5 years ago with this design, and I haven't done it since. So I thought, right, I need to, let's resurrect that one and have a go today. So I'll get out my trimmer. So I've just got some scrap. Now, I like to do this a certain way. It's called the Scrappy strip technique. So here's my scrappy strips. And I've got a piece here which I've cut to be, so I've got my normal card base. Let's start with that. And then I've got my normal first layer. And then this one is just a little bit smaller than that first layer, so that I've got a little bit of an edge. And then you'll see as I put the papers on, I use that same width, that same gap between each of the strips of paper. And I do it this way because it just helps me. I could do it straight on there, but I would have to trim each one so it had that border. Do you get what I mean? So if you do it onto something else, and then this will be the one that I can trim against. Anyway, you'll see as we go. So what I was trying to say was you need your strips to be longer than that layer. So in my case, it's 9.6 centimetres, but you'll have whatever your measurement is. So this one is just a bit longer, so that should work hopefully. And the idea is that you just make strips on an angle. So you want one part to be fatter than, thinner and fatter than the other. So I've got that on an angle, so it's going to cut there and there. I'll just trim that. So that now becomes one strip. And you can use either side, of course. So I'll just do that again. This time I'm going to halve that distance, and you don't want them dead straight. You want them, what shall I do? Just cheeking up there so it doesn't end up dead straight. Or I might only be able to use the second. Yeah, I might just trim off. I'll just go like that. And I probably won't use that bit because it's fairly straight. But you'll see what I mean. So we just create some strips. So it depends how wide. So I like to keep it about that width, which is, I can tell you, it looks like about, measure it over here. It's almost 2, so it's like 1.8 centimetres, or about 3/4 of an inch at the bottom, and about 1/4 of an inch at the top, or what is that, about 8 millimetres. But like I say, I'm not actually measuring it, I'm just eyeballing it. Okay, so there's some more strips. And you just want to use different patterns. So that this looks best. I'm going to try and use this angled one. Don't know how successful that will be, but we'll give it a go. Because it's on that angle. So I'll just see if I think that will work. No, see how I've got this angle at the top there? So it's not quite long enough to work. So would it be different if I did it from, no, because it's going to cut on that angle. So these are a little bit short. I had these left over from my classes this month. Yeah, they're about the same size as my piece, so that's not going to work. So those angled ones I'll have to use for something else. Anyway, now I had a thin piece of that. And so like I say, you want them just a bit longer. So I'm at 9.6, so I might just go to 11 there. And then you want them angled. So that's sort of 2 pieces I got from that one. I might do another on the other side. Oh, no, that's blank on the other side. Oh, that's the paper with the border around it. Those are quite thin ones, but we'll make use of those. And then I really love this paper. Actually, I should have just checked that length. Yep, that's fine. Okay, so let's do one there. And we'll do another one of those. Good to have sort of 2 of each, I find. Otherwise, you don't want it to sort of look like it's not really cohesive. Actually, I do have 2 of each, don't I? Working out the best way to cut it. And, I want to use this piece. I've got some of that already. Oh, and this one. I love being able to use up scraps. I do collect my scraps, and it's great. Now that one's perfect for 2. Lovely. All right, that one's got that lovely blue on the other side. Because if you do want to make them wider at the bottom or wider all around, you wouldn't need as many strips. So if you actually don't have that much scrap, which I doubt many of us are in that boat, but if there's a particular paper and maybe you want to keep some of it for another project, then you could make wider strips and then you wouldn't need as many. So now I'll just see how we're going for. So I'm going to start right on the edge because I've got my piece going underneath, which will let's go with that one, which will give me my edge all the way around. I'll just see roughly how we're getting on the pieces, and yeah, it's quite good to have like a patterned one and then something a little plainer next to it, so it's there's a place for the eye to rest. Go with that one, and you kind of want to go thin, fat, if that makes sense. And I definitely want to use that one because it's that beautiful. Oh yeah, it looks like I will have enough pieces, and I've got a few left there. Okay, good. So now we just have to stick it on. This is where the fun starts. Now I'll just actually have a look at my layout and just make sure I'm happy. Got 2 sort of pinky ones together there. And is there anything I haven't used twice? This one, I haven't used that one twice. What's on the back? Oh, green. And I've got it there, so I don't really want it at the front. I do sort of feel like I want a pink, because I've got a pink. My card base is pink, the petal pink. So I'm thinking that I want to have that at the front. And that one. So yeah, this is probably the most time-consuming part, is figuring out your actual pattern of how you want the pieces. But it's also good not to overthink things, because random is random, right? Go with the yellow, and then we'll go with... Oh, I haven't used that one at all. Oh, I've used the other side. Okay. So let's just throw one of those in. It's the same colour as the background. And I'm having to flip some of these around. Let's go for a slightly brighter one there. And another piece of this. Great. And one to finish. This one again, maybe. And it doesn't matter if that goes off the edge, because we're going to be cutting. Yeah, so I'm quite happy with that. So now I'm just going to start sticking them on. And because sometimes I've cut from the other side of the paper, and it does that little edge, so I'm just going to smooth that out, because I'm a little bit fussy when it comes to that. And then I just put glue over the whole thing. There is a bit going to stick over the edge though, so what I might do is just get... It will wipe off my glass mat, but it's a good idea to have one of these, what's it called? Silicone mat. Silicone mat, because the glue doesn't stick to that. Okay, so I'm putting that one right on the edge. And so I just want to make sure that it is either meeting the top of this piece of card or going over on both ends. We don't want a gap there. And I'm aiming for a gap about that wide between each one. I just love this paper. And these don't have to be straight, so you'll see that's fairly straight, but you know, that's the straight line there, and my pieces are angled, that's fine. This was something I saw Kylie Bertucci and Bruno. I think Bruno invented it or did it first, and that's where I saw it. About 5 years ago. Now that one has just got those little edges. I can just see a bit of white. I think that's when my blades weren't particularly good. I've got new blades, but that'll be fine once it's stuck down. So I'd be interested to know how you use up your scraps. Often I store them in, what are they called? Pockets, clear L-shaped pockets. So you can buy A4 ones, but you can also buy A3, which is sort of out here. And I just cut that off so to create a 12 by 12 size, and then all my scraps go in there, and it's got a name on it so I know what set it's from, and I'm able to just collect them as I go and keep them kind of organised. Oh, now this one's a little bit short, I just have to move it up. So just following the same short then wide process along the card. Actually, I'm thinking instead of that one, do I put another pink? Because I've only got one at that end. Like that, and then I'll just put this one, or I could put a thin pink just on the end to finish. No, that one's not wide enough. So at the end here, that one isn't wide enough because with my gap here, I've still got a little bit there showing. Don't know if you can see that, but so I've got to cover that whole corner. Let's see if this one's any wider. Okay, so I'll have to use this one. And what I might do is just put the glue on here. Oh, no, I won't. It's just a lot of this is going to end up hanging off the edge, but that's all right. We'll just trim it. Okay, so we'll just run that up to nothing. And the beauty of the silicone mat is that this will just lift off now, it won't stick. And we can see from the back that I've just got a bit of trimming to do. Just let that last piece sit for a minute before I start that. So yeah, and I've still got loads of scraps left over. So this is the kind of thing you can just cut up your scraps and make a few at a time. While you're doing it, you may as well use up quite a lot, and I might make another one after this today as well. So I have got a bit of glue here. I might just get rid of that. Like it's still setting. I'm going to cut down here. So I'm just going to use the edge of the card here as my guide. Why does that one feel like it's... Oh, there's a tiny wee gap. I didn't quite get it on the edge. Oh well, that's fine. So it's quite easy just to follow along the edge of the card there. And these bits will have glue on them, so you might need to clean your scissors afterwards. Another good reason to do a few at once. And then just do one lot of cleaning up. It's quite handy, they kind of stick to the scissors, so not falling off all over the place. Easy enough to then just get it to the bin. Those tiny wee scraps that really aren't any use. Okay, and oh, I didn't quite trim that close enough there. I can see it sticking over. Okay, and then this last bit. I'm using a pair of scissors that are a bit bigger than our little paper snips. I find these quite good when I'm following the edge of something, just having a slightly longer blade. But the paper snips will do a good job as well. Right, so there we have our card front. So that is going to be then going on this layer, and you'll see now what I mean. So I've got my little gaps in the middle, and now this one that I'm going to mount it on has given me my gap around the outside. So that is the way that I do it. Now, just to decorate the front. So it doesn't need too much decoration. There's a lot sort of happening there with all those pretty papers. So I'm going to put it all on, I might put that on dimensionals actually. That was my thought. Find some. Here we go. Just to give it also a shadow now around it, for a bit of added interest. Okay, that's just going to go on here. I want to make sure I get my border even all the way around. It's a good idea. So I've let that drop without actually pressing on it, so that I can just check it, and then once you're happy, press down. I think I actually wanted it that way over. Okay, so that's going to be on my petal pink card front, so we can go ahead attach that. So I could have put the dimensionals on this layer either way. And we just get that nice and even. Okay, now I've got a arch which I've cut out of the Everyday Arches dies, and I'm going to stamp just a note on there. Excuse me. And I'm trying to decide what colour to do that in. I think I might go with the Secret Sea. It sort of ties it all in together. So if I put that on this end, quite like just a note, and quite a lot of my customers like using just a note, because it can be for any occasion really, can't it? Okay, so that's going to go here, and I think we'll stick that down. Or shall I have, let's have a look. So the elements here that I've got is a pear cut from the designer series paper and the blossoms cut from the paper. And then I've got a old olive leaf. And I had wondered about having my leaf sort of there. Actually, that's nice just on its own, isn't it? And then having a pear on top. Sort of like that. But I do quite like that leaf just by itself, because there's quite a lot happening. I could put the blossom on there. Or I just do the pear. Actually, I think I like it just with the pear. And I have some new product here. This is coming in the mini catalogue, which is coming up in September. And this is Early Espresso and Old Olive Linen Thread. I love a coloured thread. So I did wonder about the olive. Oh, I should have looked for the end. Is that it? Feels like it should be. Oh, no. Can be a bit tricky to find the end of these threads, I do find. Should have looked for it before I came on. Now I've started it in the middle. Well, do we think we need thread? Maybe not. I think there's a lot happening already. I feel like it should be in the middle somewhere. Does this happen to you? It doesn't happen every time. Sometimes it's really easy to find. Other times it's hidden. I find I just roll my nail across it and see if the little end will pop up. Okay, well, we might have to abandon this idea until I can find where it starts. Or I could cut a bit out of the middle, but then I might end up wasting it if it ends up. Sometimes you can just end up with a short bit, you know. Okay, this is going to take a bit more time. All right, we'll have to come back to that another day. But beautiful colours of thread. So my only other thought was to cut this up into pieces and have, so I could use this as my leaves on top of my pear, or I thought I could have them behind, just sort of poking out, or even down here, and have that one on the pear. Yeah, that's kind of cute. I like that. That's quite simple. I think I'm going to do that. Right, so the first thing, so with that pear in mind, and that, I think I want that on dimensionals. So I'm going to put this on dimensionals too. So I'll go right to the edge. This one I'm going to tuck under, just with a couple of dots. Glue. And then my pear is going to be half on and then just a little bit overhanging the top. So I just get some little, and I'll put dimensionals under the leaves. So I'll put one little one up there. Those two bits. And then a little squirt of glue here. That on. And then I'll just put a little dot just to make sure that stays where it's put. It doesn't do that, which it just did. And then we'll just tuck this one. Actually, do I need this one? It's going to overhang the edge. I think it's quite balanced actually, just with that one. I could add more leaves at this end. A couple more dots of Tombow. Slide that in. Overlapping. Yeah, I like it. Okay, and for bling, I have either the low profile sparkle dots, which are the ones that go with the sweet, or I have been using these charming ones because they've got the secret C. Oh, they've also got that pink. Oh, I haven't used those, I don't think. Someone has, but I don't think it was me. I think they might show up quite nicely. Get it onto my little knife there properly. Because we're going kind of onto these darker papers, so I think that could be quite successful. And there, and then oh, did that have? Oh yeah, somebody left their sticky behind, but it wasn't that one. Oops. Yeah, so they're just a little bit of sparkle in the beautiful petal pink. Okay. And then I've got an inner, so I could choose to stamp, or we could put those little blossoms down there, but I think maybe stamping. So I've got the outline of the pears, the small one. So let's go with, I've done lots of green pears. Just wondering if I do something a little bit different. So let's go with, have a go at, I haven't done this before, so let's try pecan pie. And I'm thinking of doing that petal pink, which is somewhere here. Petal pink. And maybe lemon lolly, or would I do darling duckling? Probably wouldn't do, lemon lolly is quite soft. I don't know how this is going to come out. We'll try the peach first. So this is the little fill-in stamp, you're double stamping. I'm just lining that up over the top of my Pears. Oh, I like that. Yeah, I'm sort of leaning into that peachy side of the paper. And then let's try lemon lolly because it's nice and soft over the top. So you can just layer up your pears with different colours. Let that sit for a second. Oh yeah, that's nice. Something a bit different. It's always nice to experiment with different colours. And then we can just colour in the petals. And I think I'll go with olive, old olive. Now where's the dark one of that? If I put it somewhere else. This one. Granny apple. It's granny apple as well. Okay, where have I put? Now, I did use them. Was it last week? I was colouring in. Oh, here we go. I had it on my photography thing. Right, that's the mossy meadow, so I'll put that away. And here is the dark olive. Okay. So you wouldn't have to colour these. I'm just thinking because we've been talking about blends today. Thought that I would use them. They're on my mind. So I'll just add a bit of dark to that. Trying to add some shading. I find blends pretty forgiving. I mean, I don't really think of myself as a expert colourer, but I find that seem to come out okay. And then we could do a little bit of pecan just to do the stem. Oh, since we're colouring everything in. Yeah, so there's some sort of peachy pears to go with our peachy card base, card theme. We'll pop that in the inside. Cool, and there we have it. The Scrappy strip technique with the Painterly Pears DSP. So I hope you've gotten something out of today's video. And I'd love to see you have a go at making something with your scraps. And I'll try and get another one made shortly that I can also post after this video. And I will see you again next week. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.